Yes, sir. You can get started.
Sir.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our last part of our corporate finance and accounts session. I welcome Dr. Mahatesh Kuri sirs to start the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, all the participants. Now we are at the last session, series 6 of webinar series on corporate accounts and finance. And today we are going to discuss capital and financial markets. And all through these 5 series, we have seen the basics of accounting, financial, cost accounting, and the management accounting, tools of management accounting. We discussed financial analysis, how to analyze the financial statements. We have seen using various tools of financial analysis like ratios, trend analysis, funds flow, cash flow. So using all these tools, how financial analysis is done, we have seen. Now we move on to the yet another important and interesting topic, that is capital market and the financial markets, and understanding of some basics of the markets, stock market, the working of the Sensex, Nifty, indices, and I'll also throw some light on the current updates on the Indian economy and post-COVID, how the scenario has changed in the Indian economy today. And at the end, we will spend a little time on understanding some important tips about the interviews in the accounts and finance jobs. I had also sent Word document with some questions, probable questions that are normally raised during the accounts interview. I think sir has shared that with all the participants. If you have any similar questions in your mind, you can kindly raise questions also. I'll try to answer to those questions also. So yes, now let us start with this presentation. Now we are going to cover primary and secondary markets, stock exchanges, the BSE and NSE, indices like Sensex and Nifty, just a brief understanding of that, then overview of Indian economy, some key economic indicators like CRR, SLR, repo and reverse repo, then some important tips for the accounts and the finance interview. Primary market is a market where the securities, when we say securities, securities may include the shares, debentures, bonds, or any other financial securities, are issued by the companies for the first time directly to the investors. So first time when the securities are issued by the company directly to the investors, we call it as the primary market. And this is popularly known as IPO. IPO stands for the initial public offering. Initial public offering is the first time any company is issuing its securities, shares or bonds directly to the investors at some price. Now, what is that price is has got different versions to it. Let us discuss that. Follow-on public offering, FPO, is subsequent capital issues by the companies. Suppose a company starts newly and it requires some capital from the public. So this concept is applicable to the publicly limited companies. So the company wants to raise some capital through the issue of equity shares, and equity shares are issued to the public, as we call it as IPO. Now company is existing for some years and company is growing, developing. Now the company wants to expand its operations, company wants to increase its operations. In that case, company may need the additional capital. So to meet out the requirements of additional capital, the company may think of going for another public issue, issue of shares. So when the company goes for another issue, so when company goes for the additional issue of capital in the form of equity shares, we call it as FPO. So IPO is first time and IPO will be only one time. And all subsequent capital issues will be termed as the FPOs, follow-on public offerings. Then I was telling how the price is going to be decided here. There's a new mechanism of raising the finance from the public by the companies is evolved in the capital markets of India today. That is what we mean by the book building process. Briefly, let us understand this concept of book building process. ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ in the Indian capital markets, there used to be the fixation of the share price issue by the companies itself. The company, in consultation with the prior approval and permission of the SEBI. SEBI is the Securities and Exchange Board of India. SEBI happens to be the largest regulatory body in India as far as the capital markets are concerned. So, with the prior approval of SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, the price at which the shares are to be issued, at which any financial securities are to be issued, used to be decided by the company. SEBI used to fix a price, and company had to come out with a price, take approval from SEBI, and when you come out with a price, you need to justify that price. If you say 125 rupees per share, in that case, you need to justify as to why you deserve 125 rupees. Why can't it be less than that kind of a thing? So that used to be there earlier. Fixed pricing was there, and all the commerce students will be very familiar with this concept of the face value used to be rupees 10 or rupees 100 in most of the cases. Suppose face value is rupees 10 and the issue price is say rupees 25 or something like that. So we call it as book price. Book value is the face value and the issue price. Now issue price of say 25 or rupees 10 used to be collected in multiple installments by the companies earlier. In the sense, normally 3 to 4 installments. Face value is 10. So suppose issue price is also 10, let's assume. So this 10 rupees is to be collected partly through the application money. So application money is rupees 2, let's say. Then allotment money, after the allocation, the people, the investors, the prospective investors will apply for the shares in the company. Then shares are allotted to them. Okay, those who get the allotment, subscribers, will pay second installment in the form of allotment money. So suppose that is 3 rupees. Then based on the requirements of the company will go for a first call, calling the money, remaining money. Now application money is collected as rupees 2, allotment money is collected as rupees 3, 5 rupees is collected. So another 5 rupees is to be collected by the company from the investors. Now this 5 rupees is again divided into first call and the second call, sometimes third and the final call also. Let's say there are 2 calls here. So depending on the requirement, the financial requirements of the company, so company will collect some money in the first call, say 2 rupees in the first call. So first call money is rupees 2, then another 3 rupees will be collected in the form of second call. So 10 rupees is thus divided into 4 components: 2 rupees application money, 3 rupees allotment money, another 2 rupees first call money, 3 rupees second and the final call money. This is how company used to collect 10 rupees in 4 installments, sometimes 5 installments. That used to be there earlier. Now that thing has gone. Now new developments have happened in the Indian capital markets, primary markets. What is being practiced now is book building process. Let me take few minutes to explain you what is this book building process and how this happens. Okay, suppose a company in India wants to raise some money, through the public, and they want to issue shares. Let's say IPO. You want to go for IPO, initial public offering. Now, the price, unlike it used to be decided in advance earlier, now the price is going to be decided in book building process through book building. As the name itself says, book building is a mechanism of bidding. You might be knowing in APMCs how the auctioning takes place. So onion is brought by various farmers collectively. It is gathered at some place called APMC, Agriculture Produce Marketing Corporation, in APMC, and various intentive buyers come to that particular place, and then some mediator will come there. So that mediator will help the buyers. The buyers are the traders and the sellers, that is the farmers. So mediator will help them to buy and sell. And how is it done? It is done through the auctioning. He shouts a price, then somebody will say no, 100 rupees per quintal. Somebody will say, no, I want to buy for 110 rupees per quintal. Some other trader will say, no, I want to buy it for 120 per quintal. Like this, the bidding process or auctioning process goes on, and ultimately the one who shouts or who bids for the highest price for the product will be at that particular price the product is going to be sold out. That's normal auctioning, how it happens. The similar concept is applied in selecting the players for IPL also. In the cricket matches now, in IPL also there are various teams like Royal Challengers Bangalore, Deccan Hyderabad, Daredevils, so Chennai Super Kings. Like this, different teams are owned by some people. Now these team managers will will buy the players based on the bidding process. For example, say RCB bids Virat Kohli for 2 crores, and Chennai Super Kings say we want to buy Virat Kohli for 2.2 crores. Then RCB's Delhi Daredevil says no, we want to buy it for 2.4 crores. Then RCB again revises its quotes and say we want to buy Virat Kohli for 2.5 crores. And suppose nobody bids after 2.4 crores, 2.4 crores becomes the highest price quoted in the auction. Then that becomes the final price. So that's how RCB owns Virat Kohli for playing in the IPL matches, or Virat Kohli becomes the member of RCB team. That's a normal process how it happens in the auctioning. Now, with these two examples, one, the example in the APMCs, how the commodities are being sold. Similarly, how the players are auctioned in the IPL process. With these two examples, it will be easy for you to understand how book building process happens in case of the stock market, also in the primary market also. Now, in the book building process, unlike there is a fixed price, here there is going to be a range of two prices. We call it as a price band. Price band is a range. It will have two prices, one minimum price, another one is maximum price. Let's take an example. A company wants to go for an IPO, and it will fix up the price band. The minimum price is rupees 100 and the maximum price is 120. 100 and 120 is called price band. Price band means you cannot buy, you in the sense no investor can buy the shares below rupees 100 per share, and nobody can quote at a price for more than 120. You can buy at 100, quote at 100, 120, multiple of 1 rupee, 101, 2, 3, 4, up to 120. It cannot be less than 100, cannot be more than 120. So this is called price band. Again, the logic of coming out with the price band is company will arrive at this minimum and the maximum price. Company will arrive at this price band, and this price band is again finalized in consultation of the SEBI. This price band is going to be approved by SEBI. So company has to justify why it wants to have 100 to 120. So justification has to be provided. Now, this minimum price is 100, maximum is rupees 120. Minimum is rupees 100. Minimum price in the book building process is known as the floor price, and the maximum price of rupees 120 is known as the cap price. Floor price and cap price. And no investor is allowed to bid less than floor price and bid for more than the cap price. Now, there is something called a window period for the IPO. Window period is the issue is kept open for number of days, and during that period the investors can apply for the book building process, and they can quote their price. Now, investors are free to quote any price between 100 to 120 during the window period. And window period normally ranges from 4 days minimum to 10 days maximum. Now, company will decide how many days of window period it wants to have, but that has to be priorly approved by the SEBI. Now, company says, I want to keep the IPO open for 6 days, 7 days, or 8 days, or maximum 10 days. As per the discretion, they can go for it, but the prior approval from the SEBI is required for the approval of the window period. So during the window period, what happens? Now, since it is a public limited company, the company has to publicize, the company has to advertise, company has to give the advertisement in the local as well as the national newspapers with the advertisement comprising the prospectus. Now, prospectus is a document wherein all the company details, the issue of IPO details are mentioned. Along with that, company is going to make a formal invitation to the general public for subscribing to the shares of the company through the IPO. So company invites the public through the prospectus, and prospectus is published in the newspapers, and that is mandatory today. So looking into the advertisement, looking into the prospectus, not only in newspapers, now this will be sent through the social media. Some companies put up the hoardings at some big places. So hoardings, paper insertions, TV ads also some companies give, newspaper advertisements they give, social media ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. So basically the idea is to make this information available to each and every citizen of the country. Okay, issue open agide, the window period is open now. The IPO is open for, say, open for 5 days or 6 days anta andkolona. Minimum price is 100, that is called a full floor price. Maximum is 120, that's a cap price. And minimum is 100, maximum is 120 ant heluvaga there's a catch. SEBI says that the cap price cannot be more than 20% of the floor price. Andre, if the floor price is 100, 121 rupees and a cap price madakagala. Cap price is maximum of 20% above the floor price. So adakagi nan example na 100 and 120 anta tagonde. So once the window period has started, once the IPO is open for subscription now all of us, the investors, will bid for the shares at different prices depending upon our expectations, anticipations about the company's stock price. So I may bid for 100, 102, some people will bid for 105, some people will bid for 110, some will bid for 115, and some will bid for 120, like this. Then once the window period is closed, now company will, with the help of brokers to issue, with the help of merchant bankers to issue, company will see how many applications have come. Suppose there are 5 crore shares for sale. Now the number of applications received are for 5 crores or more than 5 crores or less than 5 crores is basically what is going to be seen. If it is for the demand or the applications are for less than 5 crores, then it is called under subscription. The issue is undersubscribed. So if the issue is not subscribed to the extent of 90% ವರೆಗೆ issue subscribe ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, then as per SEBI regulations, the issue has to be cancelled. There is a huge risk for the company here because so much of amount is involved in the IPO process. If the issue has to be cancelled because it is not fully subscribed, it is going to be a very costly affair for the company. So adake, to be on the safer side, company ಅವರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, they'll appoint the merchant bankers. Merchant banker ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು? Merchant bankers are those who act as a guarantors for the company. Guarantor ಹೇಗೆ? Guarantors in the sense, in case the IPO is not fully subscribed, ನೀವು 5 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಸೇಲ್ ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, 5 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಫುಲ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಉಳಿದಿರೋ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅಂಡರ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ sometimes merchant bankers ಕೂಡ ಅಂಡರ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ. Who act as the underwriter here ಅಂದ್ರೆ, normally the financial institutions with good reputation in the market will act as an underwriter. So with the help of underwriters, companies will ensure that all the shares which are kept for subscription will be sold out. Fully subscription ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಎನ್ಶೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. The problem of under subscription is taken care of. On the other extreme end, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, the possibility is that there are 5 crore shares for sale by the company, but the demand for the shares is much above 5 crores. 10 ಕೋಟಿ ಇದೆ, 20 ಕೋಟಿ ಇದೆ, 40 ಕೋಟಿ ಇದೆ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್. It happens. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. When the demand for shares in the IPO is more than the number of shares available by the company for sale, then we call it as oversubscription. When the demand is less than the number of shares available, we call it as undersubscription. Demand ಮತ್ತೆ available shares equal ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ fair subscription ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Many reputed companies in India in the past 1 decade, 2 decades ನಾವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ರೆಪ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಟಾಟಾ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ICICI ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ವೆನೆವರ್ such companies have come out with IPOs in the Indian history, the last 1 or 2 decades, always there has been oversubscription. ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. 5 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಥ್ರೂ IPO, ಬಟ್ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಫಾರ್ 10 crores. 10 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಕಂಪನಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕೀಗ? ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ? ಈಗ 5 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ 10 ಕೋಟಿ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹಂಚಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಆಗ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್, 1:2 ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ 1:2 ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ದ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಮೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ 1:2 ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, somebody who has applied for 100 shares will get 50 shares. Somebody who has applied for 500 shares will get 250 shares now, because oversubscription is to the tune of 2 times. So 1:2 ರೇಷಿಯೋ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹಂಚಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೋರಾಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರೋರೇಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಸಾಲ್ಟ್. Now there could be some extreme possibilities. Extreme possibilities ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಸೇಲ್ಗಿದೆ, IPO ನಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು 75 ಕೋಟಿ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯುವರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಈಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ಡ್ ಬೈ 75 times ಅಥವಾ 50 times ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ 50 ಕೋಟಿ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಇಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ಡ್ ಬೈ 50 times. ಆವಾಗ ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? 50 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ 1 ಇಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. 100 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ 2 ಇಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು will the investors be happy to get just 2 shares for having applied for 100 shares? Definitely not. ಈ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ Mindtree Consulting ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ IT ಕಂಪನಿ, they had come out with IPO in Indian market long back, maybe about 1.5 decades ago. Mindtree Consulting, an IT company, came out with an IPO, and you know how many times it was oversubscribed. 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ 2 ಕೋಟಿ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ 2 times. 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ 50 ಕೋಟಿಗೆ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 50 times ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್. Now this company IPO was oversubscribed by 105 times. 105 times the IPO was oversubscribed for Mindtree Consulting IPO. 105 times is something is a very high extreme actually. ಆ ಥರ ತುಂಬಾ IPOಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಆ ಥರ. ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವು ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನೀವು 105 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಗೆ 1 ಶೇರ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 ಶೇರ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ? 200 ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 2 ಇಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಅನ್ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್. ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅದರಿಂದ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಈ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದೆ. 100 times ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ. Mindtree ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನಲಿ ಆಯಿತು. ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ ಏಜಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಧೀರುಭಾಯಿ ಅಂಬಾನಿ, his elder son Mr. Mukesh Ambani took over the company, and younger brother Anil Ambani and Mukesh Ambani think for consolidating the company. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಡ್ಯಾಗ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂ ಕಂಪನಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅನಿಲ್ ಧೀರುಭಾಯಿ ಅಂಬಾನಿ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಂತ. ಸಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮುಕೇಶ್ ಅಂಬಾನಿ, ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅನಿಲ್ ಅಂಬಾನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದಾಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಈ ಕನ್ಸಾಲಿಡೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ದೇ ಕಮ್ ಔಟ್ ವಿತ್ an IPO. This is again 2 decades ago. ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೈಯರ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ 10 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ, 20 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, 30 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ದ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್. ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಾಟ್ರಿ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹೇಗೆ? ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 1, ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 5, ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 10, ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 15. ಸೊ ಆ ತರ ಇದ್ದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ allotting the shares. Definitely it is not a scientific method, but somehow we have to arrive at some basis of allotment. Athava lottery system is another way of ella applicants ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಚೀಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಬೌಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಯಾರ ಹೆಸರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡೋದು. So this is another way. Lottery method is another way. So ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಇವನ್ ದಿ ಲಾಟ್ರಿ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅವರ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಹೀಗೆ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು, ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾನು ಮುಂಚೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, 100 rupees ಇಸ್ ಅ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್, 120 rupees ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಅವಾಗ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ 100 rupeesಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 101 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 102 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 105 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 10 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 120 ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಮ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 120 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದೊಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಸೈಡೆಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೈಸ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಪೇ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ವೇ. ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ಬಿಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡನ್ ಬೈ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಕಂಪನಿ ವಿಲ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸಂಬಡಿ. ಆ ಸಂಬಡಿ ಇದ್ದವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ? ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ BRLM ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. BRLMs ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬುಕ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಬುಕ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎಡೆಲ್ವೆಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಐಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಫ್ಎಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, SBI ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ICICI ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಇಂಥ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ನವರು, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ದ IPOs ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವಹಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಈ ಕಂಪನಿಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟೈಸ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗುಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಗುಡ್ ಅಟ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲನ್ನ ಔಟ್ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ A to Z, ರೈಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಸ್, ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ SEBI, ಡಿಸೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ what you call the price band, going for IPO, collecting the applications, ಡಿಸೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಮೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಬುಕ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಮರ್ಚೆಂಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದಿ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಗೀತೀಗ, ವಿಂಡೋ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಓವರ್, 6 days 8 days ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅದು ಮುಗಿದೋಯ್ತು. ಆಲ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್. ನಾ ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಯುವಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. Nowadays no company in India goes for a manual bidding process. Application ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪನಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್, ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಟರ್ನ್. ನಾವು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಲಿಂಕಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಿಲ್ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಡೋ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾನೊಂದು 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿದ್ದು ನಾನು ನೆಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನೋ ಅಥವಾ ಚೆಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನೋ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಟು ದ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ಐ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿಯೋ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ 1 ರಿಂದ 2 ತಿಂಗಳು ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಶೇರ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅನ್ ಅನ್ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಬಿಡರ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲಾಟೆಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್. ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ 1.5-2 ತಿಂಗಳು ಆದ ನಂತರ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ 1.5-2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಯು ವೋಂಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಎನಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾಗಿ SEBI ಗಮನಿಸಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಎಸ್ಬಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಸ್ಬಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಡ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಡ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್, ASBA. ಎಸ್ಬಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ you don't have to pay the 100% of share money upfront. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದರ ಬದಲು ನೀವು 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ವರ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಯು ಗಿವ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಸೈನ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್. ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ 1 lakh rupees ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಶೇರ್. ಓನ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ SB ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ SB ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ದುಡ್ಡು. ಆ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ವರ್ಗಾಯಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆನ್ ದ ಡೇ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲಾಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಯು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಡೇ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿತ್ಡ್ರಾ ದ ಮನಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಸೊ ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ದ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡಿಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. ನೌ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಲೀಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್, ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸೆಗ್ರಿಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೆಗ್ರಿಗೇಟ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಅಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್, ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್. ಬಿಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ ನೀವು, ಸೊ 100 rupees ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇದೆ, 101 ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ 100 to 110 ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ದ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ದ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್, ಆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ 110 at rupees 110 the highest number of biddings are received by the company. So 110 is decided as the issue price by the company. So 110 ಗೆ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕೆಲವರು 110 ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಗೂ ಬಿಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ ಕೆಲವರು 110 ಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಬಿಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಹೇಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, 110 ಗಿಂತ ಯಾರು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಸಚ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ರಿಗ್ರೆಟ್ that you are not successfully allotted with the shares because your bidding price is much below than the issue price ಅಂತ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯಾರು 110 and above 111, 12, 13, 15, 20 ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಯು ಬಿಡೆಡ್ at 115 ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, company will not take all 115 rupees. Company will retain only 110, that is the issue price. Remaining 5 rupees per share ನೀವು ಏನು ಬಿಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಿಮಗೆ ರೀಫಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದು ರೀಫಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 110 will be retained by the company. Then shares are issued in your name. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ 1 lakh rupees ನೀವು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ನಾವು 110 ಇಂದ 120 ವರೆಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಆ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅಗೇನ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಫ್ ದಿ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ, ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಲಾಟ್ರಿ ಮೆಥಡ್, ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ, 1.5 times ಇದೆ, 1.4 times ಇದೆ, 2 times ಇದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಬಟ್ ದ ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಹೈ ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ, ದೆನ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನೇಟ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. 2 times ಇದ್ದಾಗ ದ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 2 times. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, 110 ಇಂದ 120 ವರೆಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 2 ಕೋಟಿ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಓವರ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 2 times. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1:2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ 2 ಶೇರ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದವರಿಗೆ 1 ಶೇರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 50% ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಲಾಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಲಾಟ್ರಿ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೋ ರೇಟಾ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ category of investors ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ there will be 3 categories of investors. Normally 3 ನಾಲ್ಕನೇವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಐದನೇವರು ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ 3 categories of investors is most common in any type of IPO as far as India is concerned. First type of investors ಯಾರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ನೀವು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆನ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ನಾವು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ದಿ ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ. ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ IPOಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ there will be a reservation of maximum of 15%. ನಮಗೆ 15% ನಷ್ಟು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 100 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ IPO ಸೈಜ್ ಇದ್ರೆ we get the maximum of ಎಷ್ಟು 100 crores means 15 crores. 15% is reserved for us. This is the first category. First category ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ? ಆನ್ ಒಂದು IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನೊಂದು 10 ಕೋಟಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ? ನೋ, ಐ ಕೆನಾಟ್. ಅಂಡರ್ ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಈಸ್ rupees 2 lakhs. ಒಂದು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ₹2 lakh is the maximum limit under retail individual investors. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿತಾರೆ? ನಾನು 2 ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. The identity of an investor is done through the PAN, permanent account number. ಏನಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟೀಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ನಂಬರು ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. PAN is mandatory for all the IPOs. ಸೊ PAN ಮುಖಾಂತರ 2 ಸಲ ನೀವು PAN ಅನ್ನ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಕೊಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 2 lakhs, 2 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗದೆ ಇರೋ ಇದ್ರೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಪರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ is ₹2 lakhs under retail individual investor. The second category is QIBs ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, qualified that is the third one. The second one is non-institutional investors. Non-institutional investors ಅಂದ್ರೆ these are also individuals only, but if you want to invest in an IPO for more than ₹2 lakhs, 2 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನೀವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಇದ್ರೆ yes, you can invest, but not under retail individual investors category. You will fall into non-institutional investors category. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರದೇ ಆದಂತ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದರ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ category is non-institutional investors. Again, this is by the individuals. They are also known as HNIs ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, high net worth individuals, and because your investment amount is more than ₹2 lakh per IPO. So our category nalli there is a maximum reservation of 35%. Retail individual investor ಗೆ 15% ಹೇಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅದೇ ತರಹ ನಾನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ there is a reservation for 35%. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಸರಿ 50% ಆಯ್ತು. The third important category of investors is a QIBs ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. QIB stands for qualified institutional bidders ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವರು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್, ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್. ಯಾರು QIBs ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ? QIBs ಯಾರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ದ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ NBFCs, ನಾನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ಸ್. Any bank in India, any commercial bank in India can participate in the IPO process. ICICI ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, HDFC ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೆನರಾ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್. ಇನ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಟು ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಕೂಡ IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸೇರಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಮ್ ಆಸ್ QIB ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಬಿಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈಡ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಬೈಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಆಫ್ 50% ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 15% ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ 2 ಲಕ್ಷ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 15% ಅವರಿಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ಇವರು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸೇ ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹೈ ನೆಟ್ ವರ್ತ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ದನ್ 2 lakh rupees ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ 35% ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 35% is the limit in the reservation in the IPO amount. And the third category is QIB, qualified institutional investors. ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ NBFCs ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೌಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, LIC ಹೌಸಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ದಿವಾನ್ ಹೌಸಿಂಗ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಫಾಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿ QIPs. ಇದು ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ FIIsಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಯರ್ ಅಪ್ರೂವಲ್ ಬೈ ದಿ SEBI. FIIs ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು? ಫಾರಿನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೇಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ, SEBI ಇಂದ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇದ್ರೆ FIIs ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಇನ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ companies can also have the investors category as the promoters. ಕಂಪ್ನಿಯನ್ನ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರಮೋಟರ್ಸ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರಮೋಟರ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲ IPO ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ IPO will have 3 important categories: retail individual investors, non-institutional investors and the QIBs. ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ಬುಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರ ಅಪ್ರೂವಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಇಂದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ತಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ, ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗೆ, ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಪದ್ಧತಿಗೆ ಬುಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ process ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. It's a quite lengthy process. It's a subject in itself, in fact. So I have tried my best to make you understand how book building process happens. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ನಡೀತಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Here book building process is a process of issue of securities directly by the company to the shareholders or the investors. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇಂಟರ್ಮೀಡಿಯರೀಸ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ. There is no broker here as such. So company direct ಆಗಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗೆ securities ಅನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Book building process is the best example for that. So this is what is called as the primary market. Okay, now 1 or 2 minutes for the participants to ask any questions if there are. Over to you, participants.
Please type your questions if you have. So even recently, this IRCTC IPO also, I think, subscribed more than 100 times.
Yes,
that was
yes,
after a long gap, like this happened.
Yes, sir. The exceptionally high this thing, it depends on the reputation of the organization which is coming out with the IPO. Actually, if the company is highly reputed, the prospects of the companies are very good, then the rate of oversubscription will be more.
Right. So, but I have a question. Maybe this happened because of the recent issues. Like there was this SBI card IPO was launched, and then that was also subscribed many a times. But when it listed, the price was less than this one, whatever it was quoted. Yeah. Maybe is it because of this the lockdown and corona issues happened, or is some other IPOs also has become like this?
There are normally more than 60% of the IPOs. I'm telling this based on there are so many PhDs done on this particular topic what you just spoke now. The paradox is that the issue gets oversubscribed is number one. Number two, the face value is ₹10, but the issue price is 100 or 200, 300, 500 like that. Just to quote an example, TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, when it came out with an IPO, the face value was ₹1 and the issue price was ₹900. Tata Consultancy Services. Face value was ₹1. It was issued at ₹900, and when it was listed for 1,050 rupees. Okay. And on the contrary, there are some IPOs, as you mentioned just now, SBI cards. There are so many such examples. There are some IPOs in India which are oversubscribed and issued at a premium price, more than the face value. But when they listed at a lower price. Okay. Now, if we look at the research that is done in the Indian capital markets, so the IPOs and the listing is done, about less than 20%, we can say, less than 20% of the IPOs have this history of being listed at a lesser price than the issue price. The reasons could be there are some generic reasons, and then there are some specific reasons. Generic reasons like COVID-19, generic reasons like the economic slowdown, generic reasons like the neighboring countries' economic conditions coming down, kind of. These are generic reasons, and specific reasons are like during the IPO time, the company prospects are good, company is doing good, track record is fine, kind of a thing. But after a certain time, the confidence in the minds of the investors about the company's progress comes down, or actual performance of the company comes down. So that is also sometimes is a reason for the listing price being less than the issue price actually. But on a whole, if you look at, more than 80% of the Indian IPOs have shown that the listing price is above the issue price.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
And why the issue price is going to be more than the face value, or why the issue price, why any particular IPO is going to be oversubscribed? Oversubscription, one of the reasons is the reputation of the company, the goodwill of the company, the prospects of the company, track record of the company. All these are one hand. This another important reason for any IPO being oversubscribed is the size of the issue. So I gave an example of Mindtree Consulting Services. The size of the issue was very small, maybe around 500 to 600 crores. Rupees 500 to 600 crores capital issue in the form of an IPO is not a big capital issue for the Indian market. So what is big then? We need to understand this. The big is there are hardly countable IPOs in India which have issue size of more than 10,000 crores. I can say not more than 5 or 6 IPOs in India. One is from ONGC, another one was from Reliance, NTPC. There are hardly 5 or 6 IPOs in India which have the total IPO size of about 10,000 crores. So 500 crores. Now the possibility of IPO being oversubscribed is more for a smaller IPO than the bigger IPOs. This could be one more reason like that. If there are any other questions, kindly raise.
So you can proceed.
Okay, sir. So I hope the participants are clear with the primary market. Now, primary market activities end by the time the shares are allotted to the shareholders or the investors. Once the shares are allotted, the primary market functions are over. And when the primary market activities get over, the secondary market will take into the position. Now, secondary market starts with listing of securities. Now, listing of securities and listing of securities means registering the securities or shares onto the stock exchanges like BSE and NSE. So, secondary market functions with the stock exchanges like BSE and NSE. What do? They facilitate, the stock exchanges facilitate for buying and selling of securities, the securities which are already existing. Now the issuer or the company will have no role of influence on the price decided in the secondary market. ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಂಪನಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ IPO ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, IPO ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ the company will directly sell the securities to the shareholders. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ shares ಅನ್ನ issue ಮಾಡಿ, then the issued securities are listed on the stock exchanges ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ the shares are transferred ಅಥವಾ shares are bought and sold between the investors, among the investors. ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೈಸಿಗೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೈಸಿಗೆ ಬೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೈಟ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ any role to play as far as the pricing of the securities concerned directly. Indirectly, however, you can definitely influence the price of the stock. How? company by showing a better performance, improving your efficiency, improving your profitability, financial position, you can send a message to the market that you are a strong company, you are improving company, your performance is better. ಈ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ the stock price in the market will automatically go up. This is how indirectly a company can influence. Otherwise, nobody including SEBI ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಕಂಪ್ನಿನೇ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, nobody has any role to play in deciding on what should be the price of any securities, especially in the secondary market. And who decides the price there? The investors decide the price of the securities in the secondary market. Stock market ಅಲ್ಲಿ price of the securities are decided by the investors. ಹೇಗೆ decide ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? Purely based on the demand and supply forces. Demand for any stock is more, the price goes up. The demand for any stock is less, the stock price comes down. So the stock price, security prices in the secondary market, in the stock market, are purely going to be decided based on the demand and supply forces. Now, demand ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, first and the foremost factor responsible for increase in the demand for any stock is the company's performance, company's financial well-being, company's track record, company's reputation, company's goodwill, company's future prospects, company's policies, company's vision, company's mission. All these factors, these are primary factors, and there will be some external factors also which influence the stock price. For example, COVID-19 is an external factor. Now, most of the companies were doing well, but all of a sudden the market fell down, the stock price falls down, and you have done nothing wrong. Now, this is because of the pandemic COVID-19. So this is an external factor. So inflation rate, interest rate, government policies, the competition level in the market, crude oil price rate, depreciation or appreciation of the Indian rupee value, forex reserve coming down, gold reserve going up. So all these are the external factors. Balance of trade, balance of payment, fiscal deficit, so many other factors which are not directly connected with the company, which are not in the hands of the, which are not in the control of the company, are known as the external factors. So these external factors and some internal factors like your profitability, liquidity, solvency, track record, your reputation, goodwill, these are the internal factors. So based on these internal factors and some external factors, the demand for any particular stock is going to increase or decrease in the market. When the demand increases for a stock, the price in the market will go up. When the demand comes down, the stock price will come down in the market. That's the rule of thumb as far as the secondary market and the pricing of the securities is concerned in the stock market or the secondary market. I hope this explanation is fine with the participants. If there are any questions, I will not pause now. I'll keep moving. If there is a question, kindly put it in the chat box. Then probably we can stop for the conversations. Otherwise, I'll continue with the presentation. Next, for anybody who is a little curious or interested to know about the stocks, capital markets, financial markets, would be interested in knowing the Sensex and the Nifty, because all of a sudden it becomes a breaking news that Sensex goes up by 2000 points, or Sensex comes down by 2100 points, Nifty goes up by 600-700 points in a day, or comes down by 600-700 points in a day, kind of a thing. So it becomes a breaking news. Many times we don't understand why this Sensex is going up, how is it going up, kind of a thing. So Sensex or Nifty, these are basically the market indices. Sensex is popularly known as a sensitive index, is an index of Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. As I said in the previous slide, there are two major national stock exchanges in India. One is BSE, another one is NSE. Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. And what do these stock exchanges do? So the role of stock exchanges is to facilitate for buying and selling. They appoint their members. The members are known as the brokers. In turn, the members appoint the sub-members or the sub-brokers. So it's a chain. So stock exchange will have brokers and sub-brokers, and through the sub-brokers, you can buy and sell the securities in the market. So stock exchanges facilitate for the buying and selling of the securities in the country. Now there's an index. So let us understand what is this index. Sensex is an index of BSE. Nifty is an index of NSE. What is this index then? Index is like a representative of the stock exchange, representative of all the listed companies on BSE. What is this representative? If there is a common man, a layman, who wants to invest in some securities, in some stocks, but doesn't understand the ratios, financial performance of the company, liquidity andre gottilla, solvency andre gottilla. Gottidru, I don't have time to analyze all of that. I want to invest some money into some company which is doing well. How do I know which is doing well? Which company is doing well? Which company is not doing well? How is Indian market doing? How is Indian stock exchange doing? ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಕಾಮನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಏನೇನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು? P&L ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡೀಸ್ ಕಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೀ. ನಂಬರ್ ಟು, ನೀವು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ. Who has time, energy, enthusiasm to do all this? So can we break this complexity of understanding of the performance of the market, performance of the stock exchanges, the performance of various stocks that are listed on the stock exchanges? That is what is the idea of bringing in some index. So as I said, Sensex an example like ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ, Sensex is an index of BSE. So index ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? It comprises of 30 stocks, 30 stocks. Sensex has 30 stocks which are listed on 30 stocks of the companies that are listed on BSE. Which are these 30 stocks? These 30 stocks spread across all the sectors in India. Steel in the ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, IT ಇಂದ ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, FMCG, ಫಾರ್ಮಾ, ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್, ರಿಯಲ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಹೀಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಲೀಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನೀವು IT ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ, IT ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಯಾವ ಕಂಪನಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಸೊ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು IT ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡೋ, Infosys is number 2, Wipro is number 3. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು SBI is number 1, HDFC is number 2, ICICI Bank is number 3. ಅದೇ ತರ ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನ್ ಯೂನಿಲಿವರ್, Procter and Gamble, Dabur, ITC. So this is how normally the ranking goes. It may change also over a period of time. ಹೀಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಲೀಡರ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಲೀಡರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈಚ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ಪಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಪಿ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಡೆಟ್ ಇಕ್ವಿಟಿ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಆನ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಪಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಪಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಈಚ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ತರಹ ಸಮ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವರು ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆವರೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇಟೆಡ್ ಅವರೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೋತಾರೆ. ವೇಟೆಡ್ ಅವರೇಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? No two companies will have the same performance on various parameters. Similarly, no two companies will get the same weightage ಕೂಡ ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ may get a higher weightage, Tata Consultancy may get a higher weightage compared to some other company like Colgate, compared to Dabur, compared to some pharma, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Assuming Reddy's Laboratories is part of Sensex, Reddy's Laboratories ಗೆ ಇರೋ weightage ಟಾಟಾ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಇರೋ ವೇಟೇಜು ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಗೇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್. ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? EPS ಇರುತ್ತೆ, DPS, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್, ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ like this. So weightage is assigned to 30 companies. Why 30 companies? So Sensex has decided to go by 30 companies. So nim jasti stocks iro index kodide. It is not the only index. BSE has BSE 100 ide, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. BSE 100, BSE 200, BSE 500 ಈ ತರ ಹಲವಾರು ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, 30 ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 100. ಟೋಟಲ್ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ 30 ಕಂಪನಿದನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೋಟಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 100 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ನಂತರ ಒಂದು ಬೇಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, 1994, 1995 ಅನ್ನ ಬೇಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡು ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಟಾ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿದು ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು? 1125 rupees ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟಾಟಾ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ವಾಸ್ 10.2% ಅಂತ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ತಗೋತೀವಿ. ಆನ್ ದ ಡೇ ಒನ್, ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ಇಯರ್? The stock price was 400 rupees. How much weightage was given for this particular stock? The weightage given for this stock was 0.8%, 1%, 1.25%, 2.5%, like this. 30 ಕಂಪನಿ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೋತಾರೆ. ಆ ನಂತರ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಇವತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ TCS yesterday was 2400, today it is increased to 2500 ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ರಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 100 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ TCS ಗೆ. ಆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 100 ಅನ್ನ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ ಅದು ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಇಂದ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. 100 is plus in the stock price from today's and yesterday's price, then it is multiplied with the weightage of TCS. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಂಪನಿ ತಗೋ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಸ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬೊರೇಟರೀಸ್ ತಗೋತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿಪ್ಲಾ ತಗೋತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸಿಪ್ಲಾದ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ 100 rupees ಇತ್ತು, ಇವತ್ತು 95 rupees ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ -5 ಆಯಿತು. ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಟು ಸಿಪ್ಲಾ ಫಾರ್ಮಾಸ್ಯೂಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಸಿಪ್ಲಾ ಫಾರ್ಮಾಸ್ಯೂಟಿಕಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಇದೆ? ರಫ್ಲಿ 1.2 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ 1.2. ಹೀಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹಿಂದಿನ ದಿನದ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ತಗೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ವೇಟೇಜ್ ಇಂದ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಬರೋ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸ್ಟಾಕಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಐದರ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಟ್ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್. ಆ ಸಮ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಫ್ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೈನಸ್. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಈ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಸೈನ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 25 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಓನ್ಲಿ 5 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಬೈ ದ ಸಮ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಏನ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ 250 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಪ್ಲಸ್ 250 ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಬೈ 250 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಮೈನಸ್ 125 ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಬೈ 125 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಗೋದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋದು ಹೀಗೆ. ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗೋದು based on increase or decrease in the prices of those 30 stocks only. ಆದರೆ ಈ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ದೇ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೇಮ್ ಇಸ್ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ. As Sensex is an index for BSE, Nifty is an index for NSE, and Nifty has 50 stocks in it. 50 stocks ಇದೆ Nifty ನಲ್ಲಿ, Sensex ಅಲ್ಲಿ 30 stocks ಇದೆ. ಕರೆಂಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 31,122 ಫಾರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್. ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 9,142 ಆಸ್ ಆಫ್ yesterday's closing or day before yesterday's closing ಇದೆ. So this is how the Sensex moves up or comes down. Sensex moves up ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is good indication for the market. Sensex comes down ಅಂದ್ರೆ it's a bad indication for the market. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ increase or decrease in the Sensex value is a result of increase or decrease in the values of 30 stocks. ಆ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL, Cognizant ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so majoritarily they represent the IT industry. Same is the case with all other sectors also. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ 30 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅನ್ನ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So this is how a common man or a layman or a person who doesn't want to spend much time in calculation or understanding of ratios, funds flow, cash flows can take a message from these indices like Sensex and Nifty and take an investment decision in the market. That is the use of Sensex and Nifty. That is how the stock indices are functioning. So there are more than Sensex and Nifty. Nifty Junior antide, ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ಮಿಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇದೆ, BSE ನಲ್ಲಿ 100, 200, 500 ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್, ಮಿಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ BSE ನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಸೆಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಸಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, NSE ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಸ್ the stocks from only banking companies. PSU Bank X ಅಂತ ಒಂದಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ PSU ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Those who are interested in investing in the banking stocks, you don't have to look at Sensex or Nifty. Rather, you look at the sectoral indices. You BankX, PSU ಅಥವಾ BankX in general ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ನೀವು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿ you can become an investor in the banking sector. Reality idre NS reality ಇದೆ, ಅದೇ ತರ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗೂ ಸೆಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. This is about the understanding of index like Sensex and Nifty. If there are any questions, we'll take 1 minute questions and then we will move on. Just a second. Yes, the participants, if there are any questions, kindly let me know.
So you can continue. If in the end we can take the questions if there is any.
Sure, sure, sir. Okay, I was telling about some internal factors and the external factors for change in the Sensex for the Nifty. So I have listed out few things here. You can just have a look at it. Corporate performance, company's performance, increase in the profits, payment of dividends, some decisions taken by the company, stock split, issue of bonus shares, payment of interim dividend, or expansion of the business, mergers, acquisitions, some government policy changes. Now, package announcements are being done by the finance ministry. Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman is announcing so many things. All these announcements are going to make an impact on the Sensex and Nifty tomorrow. Macroeconomic factors like gross domestic product, that is GDP, the inflation rate, the interest rates, money supply, crude oil price in the international markets, this will also have an impact on the movement of Sensex and Nifty. RBI policy rate changes like CRR, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR, repo rate, reverse repo rate, forex, foreign exchange ಅಲ್ಲಿ Indian rupee versus US dollar, Great Britain pound, euro, or Japanese yen, or Chinese yuan, or Mexican peso. So various currency ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಹೇಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ದ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್, ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಫೋಲಿಯೋ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಫಾರಿನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ make a major impact on the Indian markets, especially on the Sensex and the Nifty. ಅವರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. FIs, if they pull down the monies from the Indian markets, the Indian stock prices will come down, the Sensex and Nifty will come down. Indian financial institutions also make some influence because they are the large investors, like mutual fund ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, mutual fund company Franklin Templeton ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಿರ್ಲಾ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಸಮ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ LIC ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ICICI Prudential, Bajaj Allianz, or Reliance Mutual Fund, Nippon ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. So these also make an impact on the movement of the indices. Emotions of investors, very importantly. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತನೂ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಪ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲವು ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿತೌಟ್ ಎನಿ ರೀಸನ್ there will be a panic selling. ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಿಫ್ಟಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಐ ಶುಡ್ ಟೇಕ್ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಒನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಇನ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕು. ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ವಾರೆನ್ ಬಫೆಟ್. Mr. Warren Buffett, the resident of United States of America, is known as the most intelligent investor. He is known for his investment strategies. He also owns a company by the name Berkshire Hathaway, an investment company. This man has a very what do you say, tremendous journey to his experience. Right, he has got very nice principles. If time permits, you can check at his principles of investments by Warren Buffett. ನೋಡಬಹುದು ನೀವು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ he is known as a most intelligent investor. ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸೇ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್, ಬಟ್ ದೆನ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಒನ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಕಿರಣ್ ಜುಂಜುನ್ವಾಲ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಕಿರಣ್ ಜುಂಜುನ್ವಾಲ್ started with an investment of meager rupees 5,000 in the Indian capital markets. Today he is worth more than rupees 5,000 crores. His net worth is more than rupees 5,000 crores today. That's all because of his investment strategies and things like that. So emotions ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಕಿರಣ್ ಜುಂಜುನ್ವಾಲಾ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ, the panic selling will start. The people will think, if Mr. Kiran Jhunjhunwala is selling, there must be something wrong with that company. Let me also sell. He is selling, let me also. This kind of panic selling will start there. Now, Kiran Jhunjhunwala invests some 100 crore rupees in some company, some ITC. If emotions ಯಾವ ತರ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, Mr. Kiran Jhunjhunwala is investing 100 crores in ITC ಅಂದ್ರೆ, there must be something good about ITC that we don't know, but Kiran Jhunjhunwala knows. So let me also invest ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಾವು ಹರ್ಡ್ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಹರ್ಡ್ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ದ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್. ನಾವು ಓವರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈಜ್ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ 5th in the world GDP ranking. There is a broadest barometer ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, parameter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, to see the economic size. US leading the world by economic size in terms of GDP in absolute terms. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, we have at around $2.7 trillion US. This is pre-COVID-19. Now it has eroded to around $2 trillion US ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. US is more than 2022 US trillion dollars. US is 10 times bigger than Indian economy in terms of GDP. We stand 5th. Second being China with some 12 trillion US dollars. Post COVID adu kuda $10 trillion US dollars ginta kadime agirutte. Third being the Japan with around 7 to 8 trillion US dollars. Fourth being the UK, United Kingdom, with around 4 to 5 trillion US dollars. Fifth is Indian economy. We should be proud about this. Some years ago, we were not in the top 10 rankings. Also, companies like Greece, Spain, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮಗಿಂತ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ economically they were much stronger, thanks to Indian services sector, which has contributed majorly for the increase in the India's GDP. Indian GDP growth rate was also very impressive among the emerging nations. Emerging nations ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನೊಂದು ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬ್ರಾಜಿಲ್, ರಷ್ಯಾ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಚೈನಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೌತ್ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾ, ದ ಎಮರ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಎಕಾನಮೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಮಂಗ್ ದ ಬ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಎಕಾನಮೀಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ದಿ highest GDP growth rate with 6%, above 6% in some years. But unfortunately now GDP growth rate due to COVID-19 outbreak is expected post 2020, it is expected only 1.9%. That is also okay. ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಮೆನಿ ಎಕಾನಮೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ರೇಟ್ as far as the GDP is concerned. Capital markets ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸೇ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 2020, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು COVID-19 ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಿಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಕ್ಡೌನ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನಲ್ಲಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಜನತಾ ಕರ್ಫ್ಯೂ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, then the honorable prime minister of India announces the first lockdown shuru aadmele we have seen the series of incidents have happened in the Indian capital markets. Sensex alone you nododadre in a span of 1.5 months right from mid of March, ಒಂದೂವರೆ ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ Sensex has fallen down by more than 12,000 points. More than 12,000 points have been fallen by the Sensex in just a span of 1.5 months. Accordingly, Nifty is almost 1/3 of Sensex. ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಫ್ಟಿ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಫಾರೆಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಆನ್ ಟುಡೇ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಅರೌಂಡ್ $475 billion ಇದೆ. This is one of the strengths of Indian markets ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. The gut feeling of the honorable prime minister in announcing 20 lakh crores package for combating with the COVID-19 ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ. So how does that come from? So one good thing that we have is a foreign exchange reserves of $475 billion. That's good for us. The foreign currency values against the Indian rupee nododadre, this is not a good picture for us because Indian rupee is depreciated in the last 3 months against most of the currencies in the world. The dominant currencies or the prominent currencies in the world ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ GBP has USD is almost the leader of the currencies in the world. Initially it was 70 rupees per dollar, US dollar. Now ಈಗ ನಾವು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 75.87 rupees ಆಗಿದೆ ಒಂದು USD. ಅದೇ ತರಹ GBP was trading at around 85 rupees during February 2020, but now in the mid of May, if you look at, again GBP has increased to 91 rupees. Euro was around 72 to 75. Now euro has increased to 82 rupees. 82 rupees. Japanese yen also has appreciated against Indian rupee. Japanese yen was trading at 50 paisa per Indian rupee. Now it has gone up to 71 paisa. Chinese yuan, no much change. This is an interesting thing here because like Indian economy is suffering, Chinese economy is also suffering. So there is no much depreciation of Indian rupee against the Chinese yuan anta helbodu. But rest of the four currencies, if you ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಕೆನಡಿಯನ್ ಡಾಲರ್, ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯನ್ ಡಾಲರ್, ನ್ಯೂಜಿಲೆಂಡ್ ಡಾಲರ್, some other currencies in the world ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ Indian rupee is not having a very impressive picture over there. That is because of less exports from the Indian subcontinent. Economic activities ಎಲ್ಲ shut down ಆಗಿದೆ. So we have our own limitations as an economy. We are dependent on Gulf countries for the crude oil kind of thing. But one good thing is the crude oil price has substantially come down in this lockdown period. So this is how we look at the Indian economy. Then extend ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು key indicators some more indicators ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ CRR ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ CRR is a cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve ratio is reduced from 4% to 3%. 4% ಆಗಿತ್ತು. Recently RBI governor announced that it will be reduced by 100 basis points. 100 basis points andre 1%. Almost from a decade the CRR was not reduced by 1%. 1% is a big change in the CRR. 1% reduction. See, let us understand briefly. CRR andre every commercial bank in India is expected to, is supposed to, is obligated to keep 3% of the deposits that they get from the customers, to keep that much of money with Reserve Bank of India in the form of cash. That is known as cash reserve ratio. Andre ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ 100 rupees ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾನು ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಸ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ that 100 rupees I should keep 3 rupees with Reserve Bank of India in the form of cash. Statutory liquidity ratio 18% ಇದೆ. No much change happened, but some a year ago, if you look at 21% ಆಗಿತ್ತು. Slowly that has also come down to 18%. During lockdown period, cash reserve ratio, repo rate ಅನ್ನ change ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Statutory liquidity ratio change ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. Statutory liquidity ratio ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Out of 100, 18% ಅಂದ್ರೆ out of 100 rupees, every commercial bank has to invest 18 rupees in the form of liquid assets. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್, ಮನಿ ಅಟ್ ಕಾಲ್, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್, ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ಅದು ಮನಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 18% ಆಗಿ ಅವರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಬೋತ್ CRR and SLR ensure that in terms of difficulty for the banks, this money is going to be utilized to pay back to the investors' deposits. ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಷ್ಟ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಈ ತರ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ CRR ಮತ್ತೆ SLR ಅನ್ನ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಇಫ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ರೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ರೈಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, CRR ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ CRR ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ದಿಸ್ 3% ಇಂದ 4% ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, CRR ಅನ್ನ 3% ಇಂದ 4% ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು all the commercial banks in India will have to keep 1% extra with the Reserve Bank of India. And that 1% increase ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ in the CRR, 1% will amount to something like more than 1 lakh crore rupees for the Indian banking industry. So ಆ 1% ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ, all the commercial banks in India are left with less funds to lend. So ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, RBI ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ 1% ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ. ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, so they can lend less money. So demand is more but the supply of money is less. So supply ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ, ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ the rate will increase. ಸೊ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್. ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದಿ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿ ಬಾರೋವರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕರೇಜ್ಡ್. ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಬೈ ಅ ಕಾರ್, ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಅ ಹೌಸ್, ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು purchase some property, I wanted to buy gold, I wanted to start a new company. Because the rate of interest is increased now, I am discouraged. Not everybody, but at least some people are discouraged. So due to increase in the interest rate, the borrowers are discouraged. Due to the discouragement, the borrowing will be less. Borrowing ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪರ್ಚೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್, ಕಮೋಡಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್. ದ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್, ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ will come down. When it comes down, the price for those products will come down. When the price comes down, inflation comes down. This is a chain reaction. On the contrary, if there is economic slowdown in the economy, there is no optimism in the economy, pessimism ಇದೆ, ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಜನ, ರಿಸೆಷನ್ ಹೋಗೋ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳಿವೆ ಎಕಾನಮಿಲಿ. ಈಗ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಪೋಸಿಟ್. ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವೈಡ್ ಎಕಾನಮೀಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಸ್ಲೋ ಡೌನ್ ಇದೆ, ಆಪ್ಟಿಮಿಸಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎವ್ರಿವೇರ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪೆಸಿಮಿಸಮ್, ನೋಬಡಿ ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್. ಆಟೋಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಆಟೋಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಲಕ್ಸರೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಬೈ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಬೂಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಎಕಾನಮಿ, government has to take such a measure that the confidence in the minds of the people has to increase first. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, CRR ಅನ್ನ 4% ಇಂದ 3% ಗೆ ಲೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಲೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the commercial banks will have more money to lend now. 1% ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ 1,25,000 ಕೋಟಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಆಫ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ ದ ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್. ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಟು ಬಾರೋ. ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಬಾರೋ ಮೋರ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮೋರ್, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಾರೋ ಮೋರ್. When they borrow more, they have more money in hands. When the money is more in their hands, money supply is more, purchasing power increases. The purchasing power increases, the tendency to buying, tendency to spending increases. When the spending increases, demand for the goods and services increases. When the demand for goods and services increases, the price level of goods and services increases. When the price level for the goods and service increases, the inflation rate goes up. ಹೀಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆವಾಗ CRR ಅನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆವಾಗ CRR ಅನ್ನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ RBI ನವರು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ CRR ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಟೂಲ್ ಟು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ದಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಇರಬಾರ್ದು, ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆನೂ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾದ್ರೆ ಮನಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ದುಡ್ಡಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನೇ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ವೆನೆಜುವೆಲಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಜಿಂಬಾಬ್ವೆ. ವೆನೆಜುವೆಲಾ ಜಿಂಬಾಬ್ವೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ವೆಂಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು 1000% ಇನ್ ಜಿಂಬಾಬ್ವೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಟು ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, ಅ ಕಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೀ ನೀವು ತಗೋಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ದ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ಫುಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಸ್ಕೆಟ್ಸ್, ಫುಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಒಂದು ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಕೇಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ನೀವು ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೀ ಕುಡಿಯಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬಿದ್ದು ಹೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. 32,000 ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆನೆಜುವೆಲನ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ವಾಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು $1. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 32,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ. ನೀವು ಇಂಡಿಯಾಗೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಎನಾಲಜಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ 32,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ $1. ಇವತ್ತೆಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 75 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇದೆ. This indicates that due to high inflation rate, the value for your currency comes down in the international market. Domestically also there will be a disturbance for your currency value. So ಇದನ್ನು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಅದೇ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ನ್ಯೂ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ವಿಲ್ get into a recession mode, which is more dangerous. High inflation is not good, dangerous. Low inflation is more dangerous ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಎರಡೂ ನಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಡಸ್ ದಟ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ CRR ಆಸ್ ಅ ಟೂಲ್ ಟು ಮೆಜರ್ ದಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರಹ SLR ಇದೆ. ರೆಪೋ ರೇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ರೆಪೋ ರೇಟ್ ಕೂಡ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ repo reverse rate or rates reverse repo rates also were changed by the Reserve Bank of India. Repo rate ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it is a rate of interest charged by the RBI on the borrowings of commercial banks. ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ನವರಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಡು, ದೇ ಬಾರೋ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್. ಅದು ಸಾಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸಿದಾಗ, ಇಫ್ ದೇ ನೀಡ್ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್, ದೆನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬಾರೋ ಮನಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಆವಾಗ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಿಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಸಮ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟು these commercial banks. The rate of interest that Reserve Bank of India charges on the borrowings by the commercial banks is known as the repo rate, which is equal to 4.4% now. Reverse repo rate andre, sometimes these commercial banks will have excess money. Excess ದುಡ್ಡು ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಲೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ that money these commercial banks can ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಆವಾಗ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ನವರು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ರೆಪೋ ರೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ರೇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟರ್ಸ್. It is ranging at 2.1% to 2.3%, which is definitely low for the Indian economy. Somewhere between 4 to 5%, 4 to 6% is a good rate of inflation for India anta helbodu. But inflation rate of 12% anna kuda ನಾವು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದೀವಿ. 10%, 12% inflation rate kuda ನೋಡಿದೀವಿ. Going at a double digit of inflation rate for India is definitely not good for us. Price level ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is not a good development for the Indian economy. Interest rates ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು FD rate, 1 year FD by the commercial banks, nationalized and some big private sector banks ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ it is ranging from 5.5% to 7%. It is again on a lower side ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Crude oil price also is one of the important indicators of the economy ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Crude oil price is normally decided in the international market. We have nothing to say on this. Andre, India has no influence on the crude oil prices. Crude oil price is decided by the OPEC. There is an organization called OPEC, OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Producing and Exporting Countries anta. OPEC is an association of the petroleum producing and exporting countries. Gulf countries ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೌದಿ ಅರೇಬಿಯಾ, ಇರಾನ್, ಇರಾಕ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ at $60-70 per barrel earlier. Now it has come down to 32.2. ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, $15-20 ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು. Now it has increased to $32.5 per barrel. So these are some broad indicators of the Indian economy ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Now I am done with the first part of my presentation. If there are any questions as far as the primary market, the secondary market, Indian economy, some key indicators of the Indian economy, you can please ask the questions. If there are no questions, then I will move on to the second part of my presentation, that is some important tips for the accounts and finance interviews and some important questions that are normally asked in the interviews. So maybe 1 minute I'll spend here for listening to your questions and answering to them. Over to you, the participants.
So I think learning all these things it takes some time, right? Because these are all whether all of these are also taught in the BCom itself, or these are all mainly covered later on when they start their career, related to all these what you have.
Sir, many of these things are not taught directly because they are not part of the official curriculum as such. But then indirectly, all these concepts will pitch in somewhere in some subjects, in some
Correct.
economics.
So like repo rate, reverse repo rate, or related to all the other things in primary market and secondary market, what you have told.
So BCom primary secondary market is definitely there is a subject. Okay, stock market operations, there is a subject in BCom and BBA. Financial markets, there is a subject in BCom and BBA. Subject is there. All these, the terms that I have written are definitely there. But the intricacies of that, like how RBI uses CRR from 4% to 3%, now recently a month back CRR is reduced. What is the impact of that? Under what conditions RBI will increase the CRR, will decrease the CRR? If CRR is reduced by 50 basis points, how much impact it is going to make on Indian economy? Kind of these things are not definitely not there in the syllabus as such, but then the mention of these things is there in the syllabus. It all depends on how seriously it is dealt in the classroom.
Oh, okay, sir. Right.
Yeah, but the students coming from BCom or a BBA background are familiar to these terminologies.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So
we can continue with the interview tips and questions.
Sure. Okay, moving to the second part of my presentation. Some important tips for any general interview or specifically talking accounts and finance interview. If you look at the first thing that is looked at is the self-confidence. I was telling yesterday also, these things I have typed based on my experience because I was working with some companies like HCL Technologies or Deutsche Bank, and I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to be part of the interview team, some cases. So out of my experience, I have written few things. Self-confidence matters a lot in any type of interview, and self-confidence is not directly judged. So indirectly, how confident you are, and self-confidence, how you portray your self-confidence is the way you walk, the way you sit, right? Your walking style, your sitting posture, your body language, the ease at which you speak, ease at which you answer to the questions, eye contact. It's very important to have an eye contact with the person to whom you're talking to. So all these, your body language, your hand movements, right? Sometimes our nervousness is an indication of lack of self-confidence, and nervousness is portrayed unknowingly, unintentionally, without your conscience. Sometimes you you fold your hands like this, or you'll be pushing your fingers like this, or you are pressing at your nail, or you are scratching at your head, or you're not looking into the eyes of the person. You'll be looking at something on the roof, or you're looking at the wall, or you are looking down and speaking. So you are trying to avoid the eye contact, or you are not sitting with the right posture. Sitting straight, relaxed posture is always good, right? So these ways will help you to portray that your self confidence is very high. Thoroughness in the basics of accounting and finance is very important. Basic concepts more to do. As I always say, tallying a balance sheet is not very important, right? Tallying the balance sheet is not very important. Even if your balance sheet is not tallied, it's not a big deal. It is not a big mistake. Let the balance sheet not be tallied, but you should think beyond tallying the balance sheet. You should think the basic concepts of accounts, basic concepts of finance are more important than just tallying the balance sheet. So your thoroughness in the basics of concepts is very, very important. Things that I explained you in first and second, third series is like accounting concepts, business entity concept, money measurement concept, going concern concept, kind of things. Those are very, very important things. Updating yourself with the current affairs, what's happening in and around, which company has got merged with which other company, how much is the net profit reported by Infosys for the last quarter. So what's happening in and around is current affairs is very important. Communication skills, of course, matters a lot in any of the interviews. It is not important how much you know. What is important in an interview is how well you project about your knowledge, about your skills is very important. So when we say communication, grammar, vocabulary, and fluency, that is spoken English, will matter a lot. Grammar and vocabulary you can develop by reading business newspapers like Economic Times, Business Line, or Business Standard. Fluency can be improved only by speaking, speaking, and speaking. You should develop the culture of communicating in English with the due respect to our mother tongue and other local languages. We should remember one thing, that the business language is English. You are supposed to speak in English in the corporate world tomorrow. Hence, business language becomes English. So speaking in English flawlessly, fluently is very important. That can be developed as a communication skill only by speaking, only by conversing in English whenever you speak. Watching some TV news channels like NDTV Profit, CNBC, CNN IB, and things like that will also help you. And as a last thing, there are some interview questions on accounts and financial analysis. I think I had shared this sheet with you. If you have received, that's fine. Otherwise, let me share this to you, this Word document. Sir, is that Word document shared with you? Participant, are you able to see the Word document on interview questions?
Yes, yes, sir.
Hello, sir. It's
Yes,
there,
sir.
right? Okay. Okay. Some basics, if you have not received this document, you can have just look at these questions. Some questions need not be the same questions are going to be asked. Why is capital a liability? Now, you remember in our very first series, we discussed on this, whether a capital is a liability, whether a profit is a liability, kind of thing. If it is a liability, why is it a liability? Why not is an it is an asset? What is the difference between reserves and provisions? Some participant had asked this question. Reserve and surplus, on this also we had enough of discussions. What are contingent liabilities? Where are they treated in the balance sheet? Probably we did not discuss this. Sorry for that. Contingent liabilities are not the actual liabilities. These will become liability after the occurrence of a certain event. And as at this point of time, they are not the actual liabilities. They will be liabilities or they will not be liabilities, will depend upon the occurrence of a certain event. and hence they will be taken outside the balance sheet. They are not taken into the balance sheet, they are taken outside the balance sheet as a footnote. Why we need to take this is because of the convention of full disclosure. Convention of full disclosure says you cannot conceal, you cannot hide any information related to the business, though it is not the actual liability. Now it has to be reported, it has to be shown, but it is, since it is not a real liability, now it is shown outside the liability as a footnote. Where is loss from business treated in the balance sheet and why? This also we had a discussion. This is taken on the asset side under the miscellaneous expenses and losses. Why? As per business entity concept, the owner is different, the business is different, the loss made has to be borne by the owner, and until it is taken back by the owner, the loss is kept parked temporarily on the asset side. Is issue of bonus shares a source or application of funds? Is there any participant who is interested to answer this question? Question number 5. Issue of bonus shares, funds flow statement ಮಾಡುವಾಗ, is it a source or application? Any participant, please, you can type.
Yeah, either you can type or raise your hands so that I can allow
either
you
ways.
to talk.
I'll not expect answer for every question, but this is very important question. Mostly in most of the interviews, this question is raised. Little curious to know if you know the answer to this. Issue of bonus shares will act as a source or as an application in the funds flow statement. Since there is no answer by the participants, uh, issue of bonus shares is neither a source nor an application. We call source when through this there is a generation of the funds. We call this application when we use the funds. Issue of bonus shares, neither there is a generation of funds nor there is utilization of the funds, because issue of bonus shares is internal transfer of funds from the reserves and surplus to the share capital. We take out some money from reserves and surplus and we transfer that money to share capital account. Hence, there is no new fund coming into the business, no new funds being applied into the business. Hence, issue of bonus shares will not act as either application or a fund. How anta ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, it's a mere transfer of funds from reserves and surplus to share capital account. What is accrual concept of accounting? Give an example. We already had a discussion on this. Example is outstanding expenses or prepaid expenses. If the credit side of a cash book is more than the debit side of the cash book, what is the closing balance called? Credit side is more. In reality, your answer should be credit side cannot be more than the debit side in case of a cash book. If the credit side of a bank account is more than the debit side of the bank account, what is the closing balance called? This is possible in case of a bank account. This is called bank overdraft. What do you mean by compensating errors in accounting? One-sided error gets compensated by another one-sided error, and the trial balance will not be able to find out such a mistake. That is compensating error. What are IFRS? IFRS is International Financial Reporting Standard. GAAP is Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. IAS means International Accounting Standards. All these are pertaining to the international standards or accounting standards per se. Accounting standards are Indian accounting standards or international accounting standards. 11th one is increase in working capital a source or application in funds flow statement. Increase in working capital, yesterday we discussed this. Increase in working capital is application of funds. Decrease in working capital is source of a fund. What do you understand by liquidity position? Liquidity is the readily availability of cash or the cash equivalent assets in the organization. Then how much should it be and why? We had enough discussion on this. 2:1, 5:1, 10:1, 25:1, which is advisable. How much it should be? First, it should be sufficient enough to cover the current liabilities and little cushion on that. Why? Because the liquidity ensures the reputation for the business. If you have a good liquidity position, your reputation of the business is high. If you have a bad liquidity position, reputation gets affected. How much is good depends on the nature of the company, at what stage the company is in now. What is solvency? Solvency is the ability of the company to meet the long-term liabilities like share capital, like debentures, bonds, bank loans, kind of a thing. How much should it be in the initial stage? The debt equity ratio, which is known as the solvency ratio, should be as low as possible. And as and when you start developing, progressing, the debt equity ratio has to be increased, but not to a great extent. Nothing like 5:1, 10:1. It should be increased gradually to some extent. Return on investment explains us per rupee of investment how much return we get, and it is calculated with the formula of PAT by investments. PAT is profit after tax divided by total investments. DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. Where it is used mostly by the banks. When a company wants to take a loan from the bank is interested to know how much is the debt service coverage ratio. What do you understand by PER? Price earning ratio is a ratio that explains the market responsiveness. Formula for calculation of price earning ratio is market price per share, equity share, divided by EPS, that is earnings per share. How much should be? 5, 10, 25, 100 times the question is there. Higher the P ratio is always good, but we have seen some exceptions there. Numerator denominator ಎರಡು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿ P ratio increase ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ it is always good. Then what do you mean by debtors turnover ratio of 10 times? Debtors turnover ratio of 10 times indicates on an average company is collecting money from the sundry debtors or the customers 10 times. Is it good? It is good if it is improving. It is not good if it is coming down. Inventory turnover ratio of 10 times andre, on an average company is converting sales into goods into sales 10 times. Higher the inventory turnover ratio, it is always good. These are few questions on accounting. ಆಮೇಲೆ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಶೀಟ್ ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ ITC ಕಂಪ್ನಿದು. ಕಾಮನ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ದಿ complexity of numbers in the financial statements. For example, yesterday we converted the total of assets into 100, total of liabilities into 100, and then equity capital was some 5%, 10%, then loan was some 20%. Converting all the financial variables in the financial statements into percentages and equating the total of assets or total of liabilities into 100. How is it useful? It is useful for easily understanding the complex numbers in the financial statements. Earnings per share is calculated by taking the earnings available to equity holders or profit after tax and interest divided by number of equity shares. How is DPS calculated? DPS is a dividend per share. Dividend per share is calculated with dividend paid to the shareholders divided by the earnings per share. What is the minimum rate of dividend on equity shares? There is nothing like a minimum rate of dividend. Payment of equity dividend is not compulsory at all. Hence, there is no question of minimum rate here. Is depreciation a source or application of fund flow statement? Again, depreciation will not act either a source or application for the company because depreciation is a non-cash expenditure. Why is trial balance prepared? To ensure the arithmetical accuracy that the totaling, the carry forwarding is correctly done. Is it mandatory? Definitely not. What is ICAI? Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. The role of ICAI is to regulate the accounting practices in India. The regulation of accounting practices is done by postulating the various accounting standards. How is financial position different from profitability? Profitability indicates the performance of a company for just 1 year. Financial position is much broader in perspective. Profitability is also part of the financial position. Financial position includes profitability, liquidity, solvency, market performance. So financial position is a broader terminology, whereas the profitability is a narrow terminology ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. There are some questions that I felt are important from the point of view of the accounts and financial analysis. Some general questions ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, in general, some interesting questions yourself ಅಂತ ಇದು ವೆರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ಟೆಲ್ ಮಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಯೋರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಗ ನೀವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ majority of the students get rejected at this question only. Tell me about yourself ಅಂದಾಗ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್. ಆ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸು, ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರು ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ದೆನ್ ಯು ಗಿವ್ ದ education background. I have done graduation in commerce, I have done a graduation in arts, in business administration ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, then your percentage ಹೇಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಾಬೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ aspirations, goal ಹೇಳಿ, then tell about your family also. Why should we hire you and why should we hire only you ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ, this is very important question. Here you should highlight on your core competency. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಕೋರ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೋರ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೆನ್ಸಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡಿಸೈರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಗೋಲ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇನ್ ಲೈನ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಕಂಪ್ನೀಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್. ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಅಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಯು ಶುಡ್ ದಿ ಜಾಬ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್, JD ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಯವರು ಜಾಬ್ ಅಡ್ವರ್ಟೈಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಈಸ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟರ್, whose self confidence is high, who is good in analytical skills, communication skills. This is a JD, job description. Sir, your answer should be like this, on this line, not exactly like this. Why should I hire you anta keladaga, why only you anta keladaga, sir, as I understand the company's job description is like this. It requires a person who is a self starter, who is motivated, who has self confidence, whose communication skill is good, whose analytical skills are good. When I look back at my own profile, my profile exactly matches with your JD, job description. You can see my communication skills are good. I'm quite confident. I have experienced so many projects I have done very successfully. I am a self-starter because I come with a good academic background. My academic credentials are good. I'm a self-starter. I have good analytical skills. I have scored 89 marks in accounts. I have scored 92 in finance in the final year. I have cracked these aptitude tests in so many interviews. So this is how when I look my profile is exactly matching with your job description. So I may be a very good fit for your organization. This is how you can pitch your strengths, your achievements in line with the company's requirements. That's how you can answer to why should we hire you only. Why did you choose our company only anta prashne keltare. There are so many companies. Ours is not the only company, ours is not the best company. The worst answer anybody can give is, sir, my friend told me, sir, I saw an advertisement, I tried, otherwise I did not get, so I came here. This is the worst answer that can be given. Why did you choose our company anta kelidaaga, the best possible answer could be, sir, my career objective is this. I want to get into a company which provides me a challenging work environment, which will test my skill sets, which will exploit my knowledge and understanding in finance, in accounts. And when I looked into the profile of your company, when I looked into your achievements, your objectives, goal, vision and mission, I see it is a very promising company. Your milestones are very impressive. Your track record is good. When I looked into your financial statements, I could see you started with 200 crores of net profits a decade ago. Now you stand at rupees 2,500 crores of net profit. Your turnover has increased by around 125% in the last 4 years. Your vision mission statements are quite impressive. Your goals and objectives in the website tell me that you want to expand your business. You want to start another 200 branches across India. You have the plans to get into other countries also. All these facts and figures need to be really correct, not the hypothecated or assumed facts. So these facts and figures have to be gathered from the company's website. So browse through the company's website, collect all such informations, and you don't have to remember each and everything about the company. Rather, pick out some important things that are very important ones. Like this, when a question is asked like, why did you choose our own company only, then you can answer like this. You tell them about their achievements, you tell them about their objectives, goals, vision, mission, some key statistics. Like I said, profit has increased by 25%, 125%. Turnover has increased like this. The customer base has increased like this. So by giving answer like this, you can definitely convince the person asking this question. What are your strengths? You strengths and weakness keltare. You should be quite confident about telling your strengths and the weaknesses. Why did you leave your previous job ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ, in case it is applicable to you, for better prospects ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. What sort of job are you looking for? A job which provides me challenging opportunity and equally growth opportunities ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. What appeals to you about this job ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, the nature of the job, the challenging things, the job will explore a lot of avenues for me, job will utilize my skill sets, ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Why do you think you are good at this job ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ strengths, ನಿಮ್ಮ skills, I am good in communication, analytical skills, technical skills, I am good at computers, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Strengths, weakness cover ಆಗಿದೆ. Would you accept this job offer if you are offered to ಅಂದ್ರೆ yes ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Then what do you know about this company ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ, ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಇಂದ ತಗೊಂಡಂತ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ. If you take this job, how long would you stay here in this company? ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ತುಂಬಾ ಸಲ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. The best answer for this question could be, I don't think of leaving this company ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. That may be a little exaggerated, but then that's how. As long as I find it's irritating to me, I'll continue with this company ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Don't you think you may be too old, young, or inexperienced ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Although I don't have any prior experience, my academic performance is good, my credentials are good, I'm ambitious, I'm goal oriented, objective oriented, I want to make career in this field. So I don't think that age or inexperience is going to hamper in any way for the progress of my individual growth as well as the progress of the organization ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. These are few questions that I felt are quite natural in any type of interviews. If you have any other questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I am done from my side for the presentation. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me for the last 6 sessions across 3 weeks. So this is the webinar series of 6 series, 3 weeks on accounts and finance, and lastly on the capital markets and the financial markets. Thank you very much, all the participants. Thank you, Venki sir. I think Venki sir's connection has got disconnected. Meanwhile, the participants, if you have any questions, kindly let me know. I'll sincerely try answering to your questions. If there are any offline questions you want to raise, they are also. Is a PPT shared with the participants? Kindly let me know, because is a PPT shared with you? Nothing very important. I have my contact details there. In case you have any questions, you can mail me, or that is a WhatsApp number there. You can send your questions or queries to my number, which is shown in the last slide there, 9663122009. Over to you, participants. Thank you very much once again, being patiently listening to my presentations for all the 6 presentations, 6 series. If there are any questions, I'll take up your questions. Otherwise, we'll wind up at this point of time. Any questions, please? Or any feedback, suggestions?
Hello.
Sir. Sir.
There was a guys, any questions you can quickly post. Anybody has any questions?
If there are no questions at this point of time,
there's no questions, then
sir. Hello, sir. Okay. There's a question. The question is, what are BSE 100 and BSE 200? These are other two indices like BSE Sensex or NSE Nifty Tarane. These are also two different indices wherein BSE 100 indicates 100 companies are there in this index. BSE 200 indicates there are 200 companies involved in this index. So this is just to broaden the base of the index. So 100 companies are taken in BSE 100, 200 companies are taken in the BSE 200.
hello.
Sir, there was a question asked actually about BSE 100 and BSE 200. I have answered through the chat box. And sir. Sir, am I audible to you? Hello, sir. What if in interview I don't know answer for asked questions? How to say that?
Hello, am I audible? I'm really sorry, my net is last moment giving a problem. I don't know. Hello?
Sir, you're audible.
Okay, sir. Sorry, I am all these days it was fine, and just last moment.
Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like just now.
Hello, sir?
Yes, sir. You are audible. I'm not sure whether I am audible or not.
Yeah. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So was there any questions? Because I was not.
No, sir.
No,
That
I was not.
logo I can see, Vidya Poshak logo I can see, and maybe video is off. Video is
Yeah,
off. Couple of
correct.
questions were raised in the chat box. I answered to them. So
Okay,
there
sir.
were a few questions raised in the chat box. I have answered them in the chat box also.
Sure, sir. Okay, okay, fine.
Sir,
Yes.
I have shared my WhatsApp number and the email ID to these web series. They can comfortably ask me. I'll be very happy to answer to those questions.
Excellent. Sure.
So
Right.
I think we can conclude now.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you,
Sir, thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for spending last 3 weeks your valuable time, and I'm sure the students who have attended in person or watching through YouTube have made use of your experience, and I'm sure like people can also watch it later on also. This is
Yes,
going to be available and relevant for at least for some time now.
sir.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your participation. We will again meet you in one more forum soon.
Sure, sir. It's been my pleasure to be here addressing this group. And I thank wholeheartedly Vidya Poshak and especially Venki sir for giving me this opportunity and trusting me worthy for this particular job. Thank you so much, sir. It was very nice talking to you and nice talking to all the participants here. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, the participants. Bye-bye.